Toyota has sold over 50 million Corollas and built a global empire on reliability. But hiding in the shadows of all those sensible sedans and hybrid hatchbacks is a back catalog of machines so rare, so brilliant, and so wildly unexpected that they'd make most European exotic manufacturers jealous. Toyota, the company your dad trusts to start every morning, the brand your mechanic never sees because nothing breaks. They've been building cars since 1937, and in that time they've become synonymous with one word: dependability. But here's what most people don't realize. Tucked in among the seas of Corollas and Priuses, Toyota has quietly produced some of the most exciting, most collectible, and most historically significant driving machines ever made. Cars that set speed records, cars that created entire motorsport disciplines, cars that were hand-assembled by craftsmen who measured door gaps with feeler gauges, cars that were literally too exclusive for a James Bond actor to fit inside. So let's talk about them, starting with the one nobody saw coming. The Toyota Sports 800, built from 1965 to 1969. Most people believe Toyota's sports car story begins with the 2000 GT, and honestly, that's understandable. The 2000 GT gets all the press, all the auction records, all the glory. But there was a car before it, a car that paved the way, a car so significant it's one of only 2 automobiles ever inducted into the Japanese Automotive Hall of Fame, and almost nobody in North America has ever heard of it. The Toyota Sports 800, affectionately known in Japan as the Yodahachi, short for Toyota 8, was Toyota's first production sports car. The same engineer who designed it, Tatsuo Hasegawa, also led development on the original Corolla. Now think about that for just a second. The same mind behind one of the most common economy cars in human history also designed a tiny aerodynamic target top sports car that could hit 100 miles per hour on a racetrack with a 790cc flat twin engine making just 44 horsepower. 44 horsepower. That's less than a modern riding lawnmower. But here's where it gets interesting. Hasegawa came from aerospace engineering, and he poured that knowledge into the Sports 800's body design. The car was so aerodynamically efficient, so light and so slippery through the air that it returned 73 miles per gallon. And that's in the 1960s. That efficiency wasn't just good for commuting, it made the car a legitimate endurance racing legend. At the 1966 Suzuka 500-kilometer endurance race, the Sports 800 achieved a 1-2 finish despite qualifying in only 6th and 12th positions. 2 Honda S600s, the car's biggest competitors, finished 3rd and 4th. But here's the thing that still blows my mind. The winning car completed the entire race without a single pit stop. No fuel, no tires, nothing. It just kept going and going because the aerodynamics reduced both fuel consumption and tire wear to the point where stopping was completely unnecessary. The Sports 800 also featured a lift-out Targa roof panel, predating the Porsche Targa. Now let that one sink in for a second. Toyota beat Porsche to the Targa top. Around 3,131 units were built, and only about 10% are known to have survived. At the Fuji 24-hour race in 1967, the Sports 800 finished 3rd overall, behind 2 Toyota 2000 GT cars, which brings our story to car number 4. The Toyota 2000 GT, built from 1967 to 1970. By the mid-1960s, Toyota had a problem. They'd spent decades building reliable, practical, affordable cars, and the automotive press had rewarded them with the nickname Toy Motor. Not exactly the kind of brand identity that moves the needle. So Toyota decided to do something about it, and they decided to build a car that would send that nickname into the trash can of history. The result was the 2000 GT, uncovered at the 1965 Tokyo Motor Show and launched into production in 1967. It was a collaboration between Toyota and Yamaha. Toyota handled the overall layout and design, while Yamaha took primary responsibility for improving engine performance and the detailed design of the body and chassis. An official agreement was signed on September 8, 1965. though the joint development had already started in December of the previous year. And here's an interesting thing. The average age of the 2000 GT development team was around 30 years of age. They had passion and a genuine love for cars, but almost no experience whatsoever building a world-class sports car. But guess what? They figured it out anyway. The 2000 GT sported features that were startlingly advanced for the 1960s. Four-wheel disc brakes, a limited slip differential, fully independent suspension, and magnesium alloy wheels. Technology that put it on par with anything emerging from Italy, Germany, or England at the time. Performance was world-class with a top speed of 136 miles per hour and a 0 to 62 time of 8.6 seconds. Before the car even went on sale in 1966, it set 13 international speed and endurance records during a grueling 72-hour test run. Just 351 were built, 8 cars per month, each one hand-assembled. Craftsmen shaped the aluminum body panels individually, so no two cars were truly identical. Supervisors checked door gaps with feeler gauges. Wooden dashboard panels were matched to ensure grain patterns flowed correctly from piece to piece. This wasn't mass production. This was pure craftsmanship. A specially modified open-top version appeared in the James Bond film You Only Live Twice, mostly because Sean Connery was too tall to fit inside the coupe. They literally had to cut the roof off so Bond could drive it. Toyota has retained a record for every single chassis ever produced. There are no lost 2000 GT cars waiting in a barn somewhere. They know where each one is. And in the mid-2020s, they regularly trade between $1 and $1.2 million, with one selling for $2.53 million in 2022. From a car that saved Toyota's reputation to a car that accidentally invented an entire culture, the Toyota AE86, built from 1983 to 1987. The AE86 is proof that an automotive legend doesn't have to come from a supercar workshop. In the early 1980s, Toyota was shifting its entire small car lineup to front-wheel drive for fuel economy reasons. But for just 4 years, they kept the Corolla 11 and Sprinter Trueno on the old rear-wheel drive platform. That window, and the simple, lightweight, perfectly balanced car Toyota built during it, produced the most famous drift car in history. Toyota didn't intend any of this. They built an affordable economy coupe for young Japanese buyers who wanted something fun. Nobody set out to create a global culture that would still be thriving some 40 years later. But that's exactly what happened. The AE86 designation covered the rear-wheel drive variants of the 5th generation Corolla. 2 body styles were available, but all AE86 cars shared the same DNA: affordable, lightweight, easy to modify, near-perfect 50-50 weight distribution, responsive steering, and a mechanical simplicity that invited the driver to actually drive rather than delegate to electronics. Under the hood sat Toyota's first mass-produced twin-cam 16-valve inline 4, developed by Toyota Racing Development. Output was 130 horsepower at 6,600 RPM, which is kind of modest by modern standards, but the engine had a distinct second personality above 6,000 revs. Tuners quickly discovered it would happily spin to 8,500 or even 9,000 RPM with upgraded valvetrain components and factory racing variants made between 165 and 190 horsepower without forced induction. Japanese racer Keiichi Tsuchiya, known as the Drift King, played a huge role in popularizing the car through his exploits on winding mountain roads. He helped establish drifting as a legitimate motorsport discipline, and the AE86 was always the star of the show. Then came Initial D, the manga and anime series that ran from 1995 to 2014. It didn't create the legend of the AE86. It amplified a quiet, real-world phenomenon already unfolding on Japan's winding tubes roads, where amateur drivers were modifying humble Corollas into agile, drift-capable machines. Initial D ran for 18 years, spawned multiple films and arcade games, and spread the legend across Asia and eventually around the world. Decades after discontinuing the model, Toyota unveiled a spiritual successor at the 2009 Tokyo Motor Show called the FT86. And today, a clean AE86 can easily command $40,000. For a Corolla, the Toyota Century V12, built from 1997 to 2017. If there's a car on this list that embodies the phrase "you've never heard of it," this is the one. The Toyota Century first appeared in 1967, the same year as the 2000 GT, conceived as a chauffeur-driven limousine for Japan's elite. Its name honored the 100th birthday of Sakichi Toyoda, founder of Toyota Industries. It quickly became the vehicle of choice for the Imperial House of Japan, the Prime Minister, senior government officials, and the highest level corporate executives. The second generation, launched in 1997, elevated the Century into something truly extraordinary. Under the hood sat a 5-liter V12, the first and only V12 engine Toyota has ever produced, and Japan's first mass-produced V12. It wasn't designed for speed, but for something far more difficult to engineer: silence. In Japan, luxury is synonymous with quiet travel, so this V12 was tuned for smoothness and whisper-quiet operation, content with a maximum output of 276 horsepower. Power was not the point, peace and quiet was. The interior was crafted with the same obsessive attention Toyota had applied to the 2000 GT decades earlier. Many of the wood trim pieces were cut from the same piece of timber to preserve continuous grain patterns. A crystal glass dashboard clock, jacquard woolen fabric, and the finest leather. Entertainment came courtesy of a built-in VHS player, which was genuinely cutting-edge luxury at the time. Emperor Akihito reportedly reviewed the daily press from the back seat of his Century. Between 1997 and 2016, Toyota produced only around 9,500 units. The vast majority stayed in Japan, and fewer than 100 were ever built in left-hand drive, sent mainly to the Middle East and parts of Europe. The G50 Century remained in production from 1997 all the way to 2017, without even a single major facelift. In modern manufacturing, that's almost unheard of. This is a car that out Rolls-Royce's Rolls-Royce in terms of exclusivity, craftsmanship, and quiet dignity. And almost nobody outside Japan knows it even exists. And finally, the Toyota Mega Cruiser, built from 1995 to 2001. First shown at the 1993 Tokyo Motor Show as a multi-venture cruiser, the Mega Cruiser was developed for a purpose almost identical to the American Humvee: high mobility infantry transport for the Japan Ground Self-Defense Force. Then Toyota decided to sell it to civilians, well, at least sort of. The specifications are honestly pretty strange. It stretches over 200 inches long, 85 inches wide, and rides a wheelbase of over 133 inches. It weighs 6,283 pounds. Thanks to portal axles, it sits on 16.5 inches of ground clearance. All 4 wheels feature independent suspension, a genuine rarity for off-road vehicles of this size, giving it remarkable articulation over rough terrain. 4-wheel steering with a hydraulic rear system somehow gives this absolute giant a turning circle of just 18.2 feet, which is tighter than most sedans. The Mega Cruiser is 16 inches longer, 5 inches taller, and rides a wheelbase 4 inches longer than the Hummer H1, yet weighs about 1,500 pounds less. By all accounts, it's quieter, more refined, and more spacious inside. In total, around 3,000 were produced between 1995 and 2001. But here's where it gets remarkable. Just 133 of these were ever sold to civilians. Nearly every Mega Cruiser went directly to the Japan Self-Defense Forces, prefectural police departments, or fire and rescue services. The original civilian price was 9.62 million yen, roughly $85,000 in 1995 money, which adjusts to about $158,000 today. Finding one now, you're looking at around $175,000, if you can find one at all. Oh, and one more thing. 0 to 60 takes 20.6 seconds. So this is definitely not a vehicle you buy for speed. You buy it because it's one of the rarest, most capable, most genuinely absurd things Toyota has ever put its badge on. Two honorable mentions that deserve their moment are the MK4 Toyota Supra, powered by the legendary 2JZ GTE twin-turbo inline-six, a cast iron block with forged internals proven to handle well over 1,000 horsepower, with some builds exceeding 2,000. Clean examples now command Ferrari-level prices, with some exceeding $500,000. And the Lexus LFA, Toyota's V10 halo car, with a Yamaha-developed engine that revved to 9,000 RPM so quickly they had to fit a digital tachometer because analog needles simply couldn't keep up. When it launched in 2010 at $375,000, dealerships struggled to move them. Today, they change hands for over $1 million, with one recently selling for $1.8 million. Toyota, the company the world trusts to build the most reliable appliances on four wheels. And hiding behind that reputation are some of the most remarkable, most collectible, most overlooked machines in automotive history. These are just 5 of their cars that prove that a car can be both boring and brilliant at the same time.